Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for January 25th. Thank you so very much for being here. Your support, the condolences are still coming in. Thank you so very much. All the support, the kind comments, the views, all of it, I'm very, very grateful for. It helps me find a focus. And so I thank you very, very much for that. For those of you who might be looking for a private reading, I am booking, I think, like somewhere the week of February 20th. I've actually taken from this afternoon until then, pretty much off from private readings. I'm just trying to like regroup. So I'm now going to be scheduling the week of, I think it's February 20th and onward. Okay, so as you can tell from the title, what's been going on lately with the whole document situation strikes me as sort of like the pot calling the kettle corrupt. Okay, so Biden got found with the documents were found in Biden's possession, and the Republicans were really, really fast to jump all over that and say, it's the same as Trump, and Trump is being, you know, treated terribly, and we need to investigate everything that Biden's ever done or breathed. And while you're at it, let's throw in Hunter Biden too. um, and then, of course, what, a week later? And after, may I say, after Pence makes a big deal about how, well, Biden absolutely needs to be investigated. That's just wrong on every level. And somehow he didn't manage to say that it was wrong when Trump did it. And of course, instant karma, hello, knocking on the door. And if documents aren't found in Pence's home. But anyways, as I was saying, so everybody was yelling and screaming, right? The pot was screaming at the kettle that you're corrupt, you're corrupt. And then they're found in Biden's home, and all of a sudden the pot has nothing to say. Nothing. Crickets, crickets, crickets. Oh, they're just quiet because, I want to take a quick look, and it's going to be quick, I hope. I want to take a quick look at the three separate sort of situations. I will tell you energetically that as far as Trump goes and the Georgia situation, I feel indictments. I'm not seeing them this week, but I am kind of seeing them next week. So that would be the last few days of January or the first few days of February. It could be wrong. It could be off a little bit, but it does feel like they're getting closer and closer. Of course, she said they were imminent, but imminent's kind of a funny word. Sometimes it can mean immediately, and sometimes it can mean in 6 weeks. So, but it does feel like it's getting closer and closer, and I can tell you that is causing Trump to spiral right out of control. And we're in a situation now where he really can't be controlled. I mean, not that he ever could be, but he's really sort of unhinged. And from what I can tell from the energy, and so it really feels like he's not listening to anybody. He's not paying attention to whatever anybody says. He's just in his own little world of, this is a wind shot. I'm being persecuted. Um, you know, it's not fair. It's not fair. I do everything perfectly, and I don't know why people are saying I don't. So I want to just take a quick peek at Trump and see how he's doing, kind of overall, because the documents investigation to him is continuing on, and it's nowhere near the same in terms of, frankly, Biden or Pence. I think both Biden and Pence were inadvertent. I know there's been a little bit of talk about whether some of the missing documents from Trump somehow magically or mysteriously made their way into Biden's possession. I don't have a solid feeling, answer, impression on that. So maybe at some point I'll take a deeper dive on that. But right now I want to take a quick look at Trump, Biden, and Pence. So let's do a quick dive on Trump and see how he's doing. Trump current investigations. Kevin McCarthy's making a fool of himself. Sort of what else is new? Okay, here we go. So interesting. We're starting off with the Three of Wands, and so this really does feel this is that sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop feeling that I'm picking up around Trump. It's like he sees things are not going his way. He has to pay that $1.6 million um, he was penalty for frivolous lawsuits. He's losing every time he turns around. There's an energy around him that he's starting to feel really defeated, and when that happens, we know he doubles down and triples down and pushes back harder and harder and harder. That's the sort of energy around him, when actually in whatever reality he's still attached to, he does have that sense of real concern, because things are not going his way. He also gets the feeling, and he's not wrong, that things are moving a lot more quickly than he is comfortable with. Not that they should be or shouldn't be, but he feels everything sort of coming at him all at once. And in truth, the investigations are moving along. The ones under Smith are moving along very nicely at a very steady clip. And of course, the Georgia ones are really looking like those things are going to be, those indictments are going to be coming down. I have to tell you, energetically, it feels like it's going to be like they're showing me like a cinnamon bun because food related. But so there's going to be like that outer ring of a grouping of people, and then a center ring, and then at the very very center, sort of the first or highest target. Don't be surprised if the indictments come out in sort of three bundles or bunches. We shall see, I guess. He's very busy trying to figure out how he can like sort of just get himself out of the trouble he's in. Can't. Okay, he can't. He is in too deep, and the only way he can ignore or avoid what is going on is to take himself out emotionally, right? So he goes into his emotions where he's the victim. It's awful. He's being treated so badly. It's a witch hunt. Because whenever he dips his nose into reality, or in fact goes quiet, he really gets those flashes of almost the reality. And at some point, he can't completely ignore it. Okay. And literally, the people around him have sort of stopped or certainly minimized the amount of buffering they're doing. Okay. So they may not be telling him the truth, but I also don't think that they're jumping up and down to reinforce the fantasy. Okay. Now, as for the rest of us, we are going to be very excited. Okay, we're going to be very pleased with the way some of these investigations unfold and the information that comes out. The government in all of these cases has a very strong case. Okay, and ultimately, Trump is going to lose. Ultimately, it's not going to go very well for him. He's trying to make the case that him and Biden and Pence it's all the same thing, and he's just being treated mean. It's not the same thing. Anybody with a thinking molecule of a brain cell would know it's not the same. One involves, corruption. It involves obstruction. You know, uh, perjury, or yeah, perjury in terms of lawyer signing documents. And then the other two are like, oh my God, we're not supposed to have these. Let's get a hold of National Archives. Let's phone the authorities. Let's make sure this stuff gets picked up and taken out. Ultimately, he's in trouble. Okay, ultimately, that's just the bottom line. Trump is in trouble, and it's going to get worse. I have to say that February and March feel like a tightening. Okay, like the walls are coming in. Like he can't control the feeling of almost like claustrophobia with all these walls coming in at him from all of these different investigations. So that is going to be interesting. Continue to expect sort of erratic crazy from him. And honestly, continue to expect that Kevin McCarthy is going to continue to be his puppet. Just as simple as that. All right, let's take a quick look at Biden and see how he's doing. Um, Biden document investigation, Biden document investigation, Biden document investigation. Okay. The more they investigate, the less they find. Okay. So simply by just being silent and not having a lot to say about it because he recognized there's an investigation underway, but they're not going to find anything of any significance. If there is any wrongdoing, if there is any sort of shenanigans, it's not going to land on his head. Okay. And there's going to be, some sighs of relief and just a feeling that aside from a few Republicans, that the investigation was done well, it was done thoroughly, and it cleared him. End of discussion. End of statement. Um, so a lot of it has to do with communications and information getting out. Part of what sort of is in his favor is that he just opened up the doors and said, search. Do as thorough a search as you need to do. Make sure there isn't one scrap of anything that I shouldn't have left. So those kinds of words and actions bode well for him. Ultimately, his strength is going to be the fact that there's just not kind of the degree, if you will, of corruption that you see in the Republicans. And I don't want people to interpret that as if I'm calling him corrupt, but sort of under the umbrella category of a politician. I'm sure there's shady stuff in everybody's political background, but ultimately he comes out strengthened as a result of this. Listen up. They're going to drag this out. The Republicans are going to drag this out. Even after the investigation's done, they're going to keep on nattering about it. It's not going to serve them well because what it looks like is that, they're just trying to damage, and they're trying to use a very damaged president and then a kicked in the butt karmic vice president as sort of, they're trying to equalize things, and it just isn't going to work. Okay. And so that's what I see for him. I think it's going to carry on. They're going to try to drag it out as long as they can because, they feel that this is going to be, a great something for them to use coming up to 24 elections. Honestly, by then it's going to be such old news that anybody who's talking about it, people are just honestly going to roll their eyes. Okay. Now, let's take a quick look at Pence. I have to say, energetically, I kind of put Pence in the same category as Biden, which is I really feel like it was inadvertent. It was not intentional theft. It was not intentional holding back. But again, Pence made a big deal about how it absolutely has to be investigated because that just shouldn't happen in his holier than art thou voice. And so, hello, Karma. Hold my beer. Pence. Let's look at Pence. In many ways, everything that Pence does and says right now is to pander to the Republicans and the base that like Trump because he's eyeing this sort of presidential run he thinks he's taking for 2024. I actually don't see him. I don't see it happening. If it does happen and he actually ends up, he's not going to end up being the nominee, and it feels almost like he's going to be eliminated earlier rather than later. So that's my prediction about Pence. Let's take a quick peek. Pence investigation documents, Pence investigation documents, Pence investigation documents. Unless I have missed something, I have not yet seen the Department of Justice announce that there will be an investigation into the Pence situation. There is not a way for them not to do it. They have to. Okay, so there's definitely going to be an investigation. All right, so that's coming. That investigation is going to move fairly quickly. Don't be surprised if they find some additional documents. Again, not a huge deal. And I'm not getting any real clarity about where they might be found, but I'm just seeing that there's some more stuff that's discovered. But in many ways, this kind of closes out um, the chapter, I guess, of his vice presidency. I just saw that Trump is tweeting or doing whatever he does on his social media deal, saying that Pence is an innocent man. Okay, honestly, is that not a ringing endorsement? I gotta say, I think if Trump called me innocent, I would be very nervous about everybody thinking I'm corrupt. Okay, since Trump doesn't exactly have much clarity on what innocence looks like. Pence is going to hold tight. He's going to try to hold on to sort of the dignity and the, you know, but I don't see it happening. Like, I think overall, this has sort of tarnished him. It's not a big thing, but you know what it feels like? It feels like gum on the bottom of a chew on a hot day. It has just that he's never quite going to be able to scrape it off. Um, but I'm definitely sensing that there's going to be an investigation, and I think that I don't think that they're going to find a whole lot. As I said, I think they're going to find some more documents, but this really, at this point, anyways, feels frankly inadvertent. It feels more like this has to do with people packing up his office and being in a rush and being in a hurry and stuff just not getting done. Okay. So as I said, this reading really boils down to, the pot calling the kettle corrupt. For those of you interested in a private reading, I'm now booking the week of February 20th. I'm blocking off a bunch of time early in February just for some downtime for me. I will continue to put out videos. I don't know, it might be one, it might be two a week, but I will continue to do that. The weeklies, the crystal readings will continue to come out on Saturday. And again, thank you so, so very much for the support, the condolences, the love, the energy, all of it. I'm so grateful for every bit of it, as are my daughters. Thank you very, very much for being here. Until next time, take care, be well, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.